Okay, this is the practice test for proportions, ratios, slope, and direct variation. The first question is asking about finding the unit rate. And remember that unit rate means the denominator must be 1. So for example, miles to 1 gallon, that would be a unit rate. So anyway, finding the unit rate, notice I did the math here. And I put the kilometers to minutes in a proportional fraction. And to get this denominator to 1, I divide it by itself, but I have to also divide the numerator by that same number. So anyway, that's how you get a unit rate. And don't forget to record your units beside your answer. Okay, solve for the variable and round to the nearest tenth. When you have two proportional fractions, there's two methods for solving. One method would be to look at it and, for example, see what would you multiply 4 by to be 20, and then you would multiply this numerator by that same number to find your x. Okay, but sometimes it's not real obvious, so your other method is to cross multiply. This numerator times this denominator will equal this denominator times this numerator. So 8x equals 6 times 32. And then just solve for x. Find the slope. Okay, well, there's more than one way to find a slope. One way, remember, slope is rise over run. So rise would be how many you go up to how many you go over. So for example, if I start at this point, I would go over 1 and then up 2 to hit the line again. So you start from the line and then you go over and up till you hit the line again. So the shortest I could do is 1 over and 2 up, and then I hit the line again. So the rise is 2, the run is 1. And slope is 2 then. Or you can use this formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. What that means is you take these coordinates. You could say this is your second point, this is your first point. So you take the y from the second one minus the y from the first one, and then the x from the second one minus the x from the first one. That's what that means, y2 minus y1. And then, so take your coordinates, plug them into the formula, and then figure it out. You get the same answer as counting. Okay? Anyway, so those are both slope, and you can see I showed the math for both of them. Okay? Now, let's see what's on the back. Find the correct rule for the direct variation. I showed the direct variation formula. Y varies directly with x when x is multiplied by a constant. So it could be like you're buying fruit and it's $2.50 a pound. And so it would be 250 times however many pounds go in. Remember, x is your input, then y is your output, the total cost, price per pound. Okay, so you can first find your k value or your constant by putting the y value over your x. So in this case, in this chart, I take this 3, put it over the 1, my k value is a 3. So then, to get the correct rule, you just plug 3 in for the k, so your rule is y equals 3 times k. Okay? Same thing here. Label a point on the graph. It doesn't matter which one you label, and then use the y over x to find your k, and in this case it's 3 over 2, and then plug that into the formula again and you've got your rule, y equals 3 over 2x. Alrighty, this is another ratio, and you just follow the directions there. Pay close attention. Now, I put 11, 12, and 13. In other words, when you take your test, this question is just like these 3 questions on the test. Okay? So that's that. And then the result of an obstacle course are listed below. Which dog completed his course at the fastest rate? So you have to find the rate for each one. And just put your yards over your minutes and plug it into a calculator. 150 divided by 11.2, and you get an answer. Do it for all of them and then find which one has the highest value, 13.4. So that would be the fastest rate. Which pair of ratios forms a proportion? So you have to test each one. And one way you can test them is you can see that 2 times 7 is 14. So can you multiply the denominator by that same number to get this denominator? If you can, then it's proportional. If you can't, then it's not. So these two you can, and these two you can't. The other way you can do it, you can see, is cross multiply. If this numerator times this denominator is 45, and this one times this one is 50, they don't equal, so therefore they're not proportional. Okay, two triangles are similar, so that's key language, they're similar. When they are similar, then you can use proportion to solve for the side. So it'd be this side compared to this side equals this one compared to this one. And then just cross multiply and solve for your unknown. Alright. On the back, we've got a proportion problem to find the height of something big by using the height of something little with its shadow. So this shadow of the person to the height of the person compared to the tree shadow to the height of the tree. And I did a little math for the tree shadow. It's 7 plus the 1.8 because its shadow goes all the way out to here. And you can tell by this angle. And then the person's shadow goes all the way out to here. So you had to add those two amounts together first and then plug it into the proportion formula. Okay. I'm just going to show the rest because I'm using a little too much time with all my explanations. Okay. Basically, this is slope again, just a chart form instead of showing coordinates like this one, but the formula stays the same for finding slope. And then the last one, a long distance call to Mexico costs 25 cents per minute. When you test on this one, and you're supposed to write the correct rule, again, that would be a direct variation rule. So you find your constant. In this case, your constant is the 25 cents per minute. So you can show it either with a dollar sign and a decimal, 0.25, or you can show it without the decimal and a cent unit. So if you use a dollar sign, you use the decimal. If you use the cent sign, then you use like 50 cents, it would be a whole number. So as long as, I would accept either answer as long as your unit shown is corresponds with the decimal or the whole number. Okay. And then you can see I gave an explanation here of that. Okay, that's it. Hope you do well on your test.